Hi, teammates. This is Sean J. McCall, and I'm coming at you for this edition of Let's Talk. And we're going to get right into it because I'm ready to go. And my guest is here. In just a second. Right. Or is it not working? Let me try it again. There we go. So, there we have her. Hi, Franca.
Hi.
So, can you do me a big favor? Oh, wait, hold on. So, can you do me a big favor and introduce yourself really quick, and then we'll get right into the questions.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Franca Rödhammer. I'm 20 years old and I'm playing on the Austrian national team. And right now we're on the preparation for the European Championship, which starts on Saturday. And last year was my first pro season in Spain.
Okay, so we're going to get right into it. You are 20 years old and you've got quite a bit of experience. We'll get in more into that later. But how did you start hooping? How did you come to the game of basketball?
It was actually pretty easy because my grandpa started doing like a little club in our town, and so every family member just like started doing it from like a very young age on. So
So you
I
were
was
kind of forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You had no real choice. Oh, are you breaking up or am I breaking up? She's frozen. Can everybody still see me and hear me? Or is it her side? Can somebody write in the comments if you still see and hear me? Okay, people are still joining, so mine must be working. Hi, everyone. Sorry, my guest has frozen up on me. It's her side. Thank you, Folky. Okay, good. Then I will try to, let's see, she is frozen. Let me invite her again. Let's see. Oh, you're back.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so the last thing I said was that you were pretty much forced to start playing hoops.
More or less. With the age of 5, I started playing basketball.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. And although Austria is not known for its basketball, it's more of a ski country, Formula One, soccer, those are the big sports. How do you handle playing a sport that's not huge in your country?
I feel like it's just cool to also see like women stepping up a bit, and I feel like you can make some noise as a woman playing sports in general. So I feel like it's just about like kind of dominating and just showing the people that it's still like the right choice to be an athlete, to be professional, and just see how it's going. And it's getting bigger, I feel like.
It's crazy because when I played in Austria, when I came into Austria, it was 1995. And when I come back to Austria and I go to games in the first league, for example, I played in Kaffenberg for 4 years and then I played in Treiskirchen for 1. Everybody's playing in the same gym. Oberwart is playing in the same gym. Kaffenberg is playing in the same gym. Treiskirchen is playing in the same gym. So many teams that were there when I was there are still playing in small school type gyms, right? One side, the basketball team is on one side, the spectators are on one side. There's like hardly any like Holland, like gyms, like round gyms. And I think that's so crazy that like 29 years later, the first league in Austria is still playing, teams that are good are still playing in the same gyms.
That's
how
true.
How has been the development on the women's side?
I feel like for the women's side, it developed a bit because we weren't playing in the same gyms as the men were. And now we're also playing in the first league's men's gym, and we have like people watching our games actually, and it's getting bigger for us. I feel like we stepped up the game a bit more in Austria than the men probably did in the past years. So I feel like for us, it's a good development.
Good. Your club where you started, did you ever have foreign players, import players?
Yeah, we did. We had a few players from Luxembourg over and from Germany. Yeah, the rest was more or less Austrian.
What was your first interaction with like an import player? Because having an import player is kind of like, ooh, we got a foreigner. What was your first memory of having an import player?
I mean, I remember was my first league season. I was pretty excited and nervous about the first practice because, of course, you want to prove yourself.
Right.
But they were talented. They were super cool players, and that just like helped the rookies to fit in the team. So I felt like it was more like a motivation to get up, to get better. I really like playing with professionals.
Side note, because we've had discussions before, but I always wanted to tell you, your English is really good.
Yeah.
Like, how did you learn your English so well?
Probably just talking with my coach in English, because my coach back in Austria was from Bulgaria.
Okay.
So interacted in English. And my past season, I was in Spain, but I also studied in English. So probably that improved my English too.
Okay. At what age did you kind of realize, hey, I might be pretty good at this sport?
Probably when I chose to go like to a basketball academy, because I always played basketball just because it's fun. I played with boys, I played with girls. And then I turned 14, 15, and then I felt like I could probably go to an academy and take it a bit more seriously, kind of, and just practice more often a day and see, I don't know, if it works out. And I guess it did at the end. So I'm glad I took that path.
Good. And so at what age did you get your very first call to a youth national team? And how did you feel when you got that invitation?
I remember my mom told me, because she got an email that I got invited. I was 13. I was super excited to just represent Austria, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, I remember the first camps were frightening, but I learned a lot.
Why were they frightening? So you were 13, and that was probably like under 15 national team?
Under 14.
Under 14?
Yeah. Yeah, of course you want to prove yourself to like coaches and stuff, and just want to seem like a good basketball player. And before, basketball was just about fun and being with my friends, and it was the first time that there was a bit of like pressure and just like showing off. So I feel like the pressure was kind of new for me in sports.
Do you remember your very first national team game?
Yeah, it was the under 16 European championships. Yeah.
Also, under 14 they don't play other under 14.
No, there's no European championship.
Right. So your very first one was then under 16?
Yeah, when I was 15. Yeah.
Okay. And how was that for you? Like your very first game, how did you feel?
No, it was cool. Like stepping on the court, really just like having the Austria sign on top of your jersey, and playing in a crowd, more or less. No, it was cool. Also traveling with the team for a couple of weeks before, just getting like get to know each other better, and just no, it's crazy to me how like in little time you get to know people very well if you practice with them a lot, and especially if you represent the same country. So it was definitely very nice. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I am an Austrian citizen. I chose the Austrian citizenship in 2000 is when I became an Austrian citizen, and after that I played a couple years with the Austrian national team. So I know that feeling, and if I look back on it, playing for a national team anyway, it's an honor, whether I was born there or not. It was really an honor. And the interesting thing about the national team is like what you said. You learn, you get to know people on a different level. For example, there was a player that I always played against. He played in St. Polten, and I actually hated the guy. Absolutely hated him. But then we because we were always opposing, right? And then we came to national team camp, and to this day, he's one of my best friends. So that kind of changed the relationship. So that meeting the guys or girls in your case, and hanging out with them, getting to know them is a really special thing. I think that's something that if you look at national teams throughout Europe as opposed to America, the girls you've been playing with pretty much since you're 13.
Yeah, right? I know a lot of them for a couple of years now. Yeah.
So you kind of go up the ranks together. But in America, for example, there's of course a lot more people, but they don't have that chance to grow with an age group or a team. And I think that's pretty disappointing. And when I think about my time as an Austrian national team member, those were dope trips. That was always like crazy fun, and to represent a country anyway is pretty
Oh yeah.
cool. Do you ever get goosebumps when you hear the national anthem?
Oh yeah, I do. Especially in the first games, if it's like the first or second
Mhm.
time, just like singing it, I definitely do. Also now, like on the test games against Croatia and
Mhm.
Slovakia, I definitely did. So
Good,
always
good. I will admit that I do not know the Austrian anthem. I'm a terrible Austrian. I can't sing it.
I won't sing it too.
No, I wasn't going to ask you. But it's weird. Even though I'm born and raised in America, now I've lived in Europe longer than I ever lived in America, and so I feel very European. That's clear. But I also got goosebumps during the national anthem of Austria. That was a weird thing. So I
Oh
can
yeah.
I can kind of identify that with that. You don't play on just one national team. You play on the women's national team. You also play on 3-on-3,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
So do you have any time for anything like besides basketball?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to make the time just for stuff outside of basketball. But I feel like if you really enjoy it, then it doesn't feel like a waste of time or having little time outside
Mhm.
of basketball. Because if you are good friends with the people you play with or just have like good coaches, then it doesn't feel like being trapped in basketball or
Mhm.
anything. So yeah, I mean, it's good to have a little break, but really looking forward now to the European Championships.
You've you've been through the national team so long. How has it been for your family? Because that takes a lot of your time. How has it been for your family to have you gone so much or not there for certain events and things like that? How have they supported you through that?
I mean, I'm very close to my family, so they would never like not support me. They're very supportive in many different ways. Of course, they're sad if I'm not there for the birthday or something, but they know I don't mean it in a mean way. I just
Right.
follow my path, kind of. And I feel like it's just more special spending time together now.
Mhm.
Or if they watch a game of mine, it's just like, I don't know, a bit more special, I would
Mhm.
say.
Yeah. Um, Last question about the national team. What is your favorite memory to date while you were playing with the national team?
Mm, Probably 2 years ago, we played against Ireland and we were down by 25 points in halftime. And we still ended up beating them,
Mhm.
+2, I think. That was pretty cool. Just like the comeback, the fight back.
Right,
Really loved the team effort.
right. That's dope. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about as your professional career now. You are also a student, right?
Mhm.
And how do you adjust to student life and also as a basketball player? Is it difficult?
I mean, I started studying now, also starting my first professional year. So it was kind of overboarding in the beginning. But I feel like if the campus is close to the gym or is close to the apartment,
Mhm.
then you can kind of organize it quite well. And the support system in the university was quite good with practice and missing some classes. So it's definitely a bit more stressful. You have to keep on track with your schedule and stuff. But yeah, it works out at the end. So I liked it.
Good. Um, so you go through your career in the youth teams, club teams, things like that. Then you come to a decision that you will leave Austria.
Mhm.
First question, how did you decide that it was time for you to go?
I feel graduating from high school helped me definitely,
Mhm.
and just not playing in a youth team anymore because I was told to play in the under
Right.
19 in Austria. So it was like Austria was a good place to be, a good place to just develop and play in the first league with very good teams, and against very good teams. Um, but I just felt like graduating from high school was my time to just step up and see what the world, what Europe has, and yeah, I mean basketball is getting a bit bigger in Austria, but it's definitely big in other countries of Europe too.
Right, right. And how did it come about that you ended up in Spain? How did the process start? And how was how hard was it for you to decide to go and leave home and go to Spain?
After European Championship last summer, I got a few offers, and I just thought that Spain I mean, Spain is a great basketball country, and I just thought it would be cool to see how it works there. And then my decision was more or less a gut feeling, just seeing the facilities and then deciding to just try out Spain and see how it works out.
So you actually went there before you signed? Did you go there and meet the coach, or how did that work?
I met the coach, not at the city where I played at, but I saw him before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did the contact come? Did you have an agent, or how did the contact with that particular team come?
Yeah, at that time I had an agent who helped me just like keeping in track with the club and coaches.
And how did you get your agent? Because that's a very big thing about what I do with helping players is trying to find agents and credible agents and things like that. For the women's side, I'm not so knowledgeable as I would like to be. So how was it for you to find an agent, first of all, and then go through the process of letting that person, here, take my future, find me a team? How was that for you?
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy decision, especially if it's a lot of about gut feeling, just how you interact with the person, if it feels good or not. And he texted me after the European Championship. He told me he saw a few games of like my past season, and he really likes my style of playing, I guess. And then we had a few Zoom meetings, and I decided that he would be the right person to help me out and find a club to play at.
Did you ask a lot of questions? Did you to try to make yourself feel comfortable with this person who obviously wanted you to be on their player roster, but was it difficult for you to ask questions that you would be more reassured?
If I would answer it now, I would say I didn't ask too much. I should just like ask more and more, because it's really important to get to know the person you hand your life into. But yeah, I thought I asked him a lot, but I feel like I would do it differently now.
Okay. Okay. Based on that, if you had to talk to Franca from 1 year ago, what would you tell her to do differently when selecting an agent?
I feel like it's a lot about just like respect and just like, I don't know, it's very important to me that my agent knows how good I'm and what I'm good at. And I felt like probably my agent didn't know me too well, or he could know me better. So I feel like that would be I think it would change, just like that my agent knows me very well.
Yeah, but how do you do that in this day and age where you can do everything over Zoom meetings or online meetings, and you hardly ever meet the person. You hardly ever get that one-on-one interaction in person with someone. How do you think you could have been more prepared to deal with that than now?
I feel like I should just have asked if I wasn't sure, because I feel like if I'm not sure, then it's not the right decision to make. And I just should ask him like more detailed questions and just like tell him about my, I don't know, my feelings, my fears, because then he can deal with it too and knows what he should search for, and just like, I don't know, more tips of mine what I really would prefer, and not just like letting all the decisions in his hands. I feel like that's what I would really do differently now.
Right. I had a guest last week or the week before last, and she was telling about her journey from Germany to her first time being an import player somewhere else. It happened to be in Iceland. And I asked her what would be something you would tell a woman if she was venturing out from her home country for the first time. And her answer was, you better have an agent, because she did not have an agent at that time. And she said, for her, especially a woman, needs to have an agent or someone behind them. Do you think you would have made that step without an agent?
I probably won't. Having an agent is you feel a bit more safe. I feel like it's just like a backup you have, and a person who can really talk to the managers and coaches of the club, and not just like, I mean, it's good if the player is also able to talk with them and to have a good conversation, but I feel like an agent is really, I don't know, gets taken seriously, a bit more seriously than just a player. So I feel like it's good.
I always tell the people that I advise that I believe everybody should have an agent, and I tell them all, you only know if you have a good agent, not based on if they can get you a job or not. Yes, that's that's pretty big to have an agent and they can get you a job. That's clear. But that's something that they do every day. They're trying to work to get people jobs so that they can get paid. So I say that's not the key thing when you know that you have a good agent. Unfortunately, you only know, in my opinion, if you have a good agent, if you get hurt or if you get fired. Because then they have to do something outside the box. Then they have to deal with clubs on your behalf, where it could be that if they fight for you too hard, they might use that club as a potential destination for their players. So then it really comes to fruit that, okay, my agent is good because my agent fought for me. My agent did what he or she was supposed to do. That I think that's a really big sign how good your agent is. Of course, you want them to be able to find you a job. You want them to have connections that you can play in different places and climb the ladder, of course. But unfortunately, the two bad things, if you get hurt or you get fired, that's, in my opinion, when you know if you have a good agent or not. You haven't gone through any of that right now, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you never have to deal with those issues. But do you still have the same agent that you had originally?
No, no, I don't. No.
Okay, so you're on the lookout for a new agent.
Yes, right.
So
right now.
Anybody watching, Austrian national team player right down here. Okay, give her a look, give her a call, and let's see if we can get something happening for you. All right. How did it feel for you to leave home, go to Spain, and now you are the import player? You are the same player that you looked up to when you were a kid, right? So now you've left the comforts of your home. How did it feel for you to go to another country and now be the import player?
It was definitely a different feeling. Now you're the one people probably look up to, or you have just a lot of responsibility. Every game, every practice, you have to show up, you have to give your best and kind of play up to expectations. But I also like to play a bit under pressure and to be challenged in practice. So I kind of knew or expected what was coming towards to me. So I really liked the pressure I was on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's different. It's a different type of pressure when you were an import player or you were in Austria, for example. It's a totally different pressure. You got any story of when it kind of clicked that, okay, this is different now? I am considered different. Is there anything that happened to you, like maybe at the beginning when you first got there, where you realized, okay, this is next level?
Probably just like also how people from the club or coaches just are interacting with you or are treating you. You're just like not the little girl or just like the young player playing up for the old ones. You're the one. You're there. That's your job, kind of. So it was definitely a different treatment than in Austria. And also just like getting the facilities, even being in a women's team, just getting the same facilities as the men did. And yeah, just like recovery possibilities and shooting times in the gyms. So it was definitely a different treatment.
It's interesting that you mentioned age, because I would think that if you're playing in the first league in Austria, you're 20 years old. There you would be considered a young player. There you would be kind of like you're home anyway, but still nobody really thinks of you as a professional like that. They see a 20-year-old girl that's come through the ranks. But immediately, as soon as you go somewhere else, you're 20 years old, they look at you and they treat you differently. Not like a 20-year-old that you would be in Austria. Did you understand what I mean? Did you get that at all?
No, it was for sure a bit of a weird feeling. I mean, it was good, but it was just like not understandable right away because it didn't change my way of playing within 2 weeks. So it was definitely a bit weird, but I feel like you kind of adjust to it and within a little time, because it's a good treatment. You really like how you get treated by the people there. So it was definitely weird, but very good.
Did you have any welcome to Spain moments? And I mean as basketball, because of course basketball in Spain has a different worth. And I can imagine that you being a professional now, when you first started playing, that it's just a different type of basketball as well. Did you ever have a welcome to Spain moment?
Yeah, kind of. I feel like people are just a bit more into basketball generally.
Mm-hmm.
People are actually watching games, also like the young girls teams and our games were kind of supported too. So it was definitely different. Yeah. But I don't know, if I step on the court, it just always feels the same kind of. So basketball wise, I don't know. Probably how the coaches see basketball is definitely different than people do in Austria and people do in the USA. They have like their own
Right.
philosophy of playing basketball for
Right.
sure. But I feel like it just try to blend it out if I step on the court.
Did you have any difficulties with language?
A bit. I thought basketball is very international, so everybody would speak English. Turned out it's not like that. So it was definitely a different because I don't know, started talking English, playing basketball when I turned 12 probably.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely very different. But yeah, within a little time, you know that screen is called bloqueo and
Mm-hmm.
left, right. So you kind of have to adjust if everybody's speaking Spanish more or less. Yeah.
That's of course a huge adjustment for most players, especially when they come from America and they come to a European
Oh yeah.
country with the language. But from my experience, except for Spain and France, pretty much the other countries are very open to speaking English. But France, oh my goodness, I went to France, and I think after 6 hours they expected me to speak fluent French, and
I
I
feel
was
that.
like, really, come on, like,
Yeah.
come on. Um, did you ever get homesick?
Yeah, in the beginning I feel it because I'm very close to my family,
Mhm.
with my family. So September, October was definitely different. Also like not being home for the whole day, being in university practice and stuff. But I made some very good friendships there. So it really helped me to not get homesick or don't think about home too much.
Right.
Um, yeah. Also FaceTiming also helps.
Mhm.
So it was
Yeah,
good
I
after.
was just going to ask you. I was just going to ask you, how did you get past that? How did you learn to deal with it, to being a professional in another country, and not get too homesick where it affects your play?
It was definitely like phoning my friends, phoning my family. That was definitely a point which made it a little less hard for me.
Mhm.
And also just like finding new friends, finding people you hang around with, having good teammates really helps. So you can just like focus on other people.
Okay. And of course, you and I have had multiple conversations and things like that. And one of the vibes that I get from you is that you are a very driven person. Um, and what do you think? Is that one of your strengths?
Probably not always, but I feel like for me it just like developed me a lot, and it also helped me where I'm right now. So because I really know what I want, where I want to go, and what I want to reach. So I always feel like I know my drive is a good thing for me.
Good. Okay. Um, what's next? Is a return to Spain in the cards, or are you looking to move on? I know the answer to this, but I'll let you
Yeah.
explain it a little bit.
No, I feel like it was a good experience the last season. I could really show what I'm capable of, but I wouldn't go back. It was a good year, but I feel like now it's just my time to step
Mhm.
up. I mean, I contacted a few clubs. Probably looking to Sweden. I don't know if it works out at the end or not, but yeah, I'm open-minded. I'm
Mhm.
open for new stuff.
I mean, if it, of course, we've talked about all of this, but if it doesn't work out in Sweden, because that's your destination goal, kind of, you would be open to playing elsewhere, for
Yeah,
example, Germany or other places.
yeah, I definitely would.
And let's say worst case scenario, things don't work out and you don't get any offers from somewhere else, would you then go back to Austria and go back to school or university there and play in a league in the leagues there?
I mean, worst case, if I can't go anywhere else, then for sure I would just go back. Australia, like the top teams are definitely good teams. Where I can like improve myself individually, working on my skills. It wouldn't be my choice now,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, if nothing works out, it's good to know that I can always come back.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more question for you. Last question. If you never touched a basketball before in your whole life, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Probably doing another sport. Probably playing handball or volleyball. Always fun.
A team sport?
Yeah, definitely a team sport.
Do you think you could have been a single sport person, like a individual sport person?
I don't think I'm made for it, actually. I need a team. I need people I can support, people who support me. I just need the chemistry and to be with people. I think being alone wouldn't be my thing.
Okay, so that's all I got for you. I am very thankful that you came on. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I wish you all the best with the national team and your preparations for the European championships and things like that. What's the goal for the European championships with the national team, actually?
We have a good group, or a good group for us. So winning 2 games and stepping up to the next stage after group stage would be great. So yeah.
When are your games?
When?
Yeah.
I think it's Saturday, Sunday, and then the last group game is on Tuesday.
And who will you be playing against in this group phase?
First game is Iceland, and then the other 2 teams in the group are the Ukraine and Bulgaria, the host country.
Okay, so you will text me and let me know how the games go, please. Yeah, and I will keep my fingers crossed for my fellow Austrian and hope that you all do well and you play well and you reach your next goals. Anyway, you and I will be in contact. Anyway, we still got some unfinished business to take care of, but I really appreciate you coming on my show and taking the time out. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, get out of here.
Ciao.
All right. So everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. That's it for this edition of Let's Talk. If you were here for the 32 minutes we've been on, or for 1 minute, thank you for stopping by. I hope you can come back another time. And yeah, very happy for Franca. Actually, we met through a mutual friend, and he referred her to me to help her out with her situation, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're working on. So I'm pretty pleased with her progress right now. And yeah, so I will be away for the next couple of weeks from Let's Talk because I will be going to Greece on vacation, and I do not want to do anything except sit on the beach and drink coffee, iced coffee. So I'll be back with Let's Talk sometime around early August. So stay tuned. Look for my stories to see who will be the next guest. And yeah, I hope all of you are doing well. That's it for me. Hold it out.